levee. That was a little low spot in our levee, about 2 miles. We've got that secure. I feel comfortable that our levee system is performing as well as it was prepared to do. As well as it was built to do.
Right.
And without any unforeseen something jumping up and biting us that we don't know about that's going to happen, I don't see any reason why this levee system won't continue to hold this water. It's stout, it's strong, it's well built. And once we complete the rest of this 71 miles below levee in northeast Louisiana, you people of Louisiana be proud of what we've got over here, because it will protect you, I'll assure you.
Absolutely. What areas are you seeing being most affected, though, just by the flooding of the river itself, and maybe just some of the areas where the water's maybe backing up or rising in other areas kind of off the Mississippi?
Most of the problems are just along the levee. Within 2 miles of the levee, you've got just heavy seep water. And, of course, that seep water is just, it hurts the crops. You can't plant a crop if you don't have one planted. And what's planted is not going to do well. Your ground is going to be, not having the oxygen, deoxygenated. And it's just, that's the most thing that this river is hurting right now is the seep water.
We're talking with Reynold Minsky. He's the president of the 5th Levee District. Tell us exactly what areas your district covers in terms of those different levees along the Mississippi.
I start at the Arkansas line and go down to the Old River Locking Dam in the Boyles Parish. I've got 257 miles of mainline levee. I've got 93 miles of backwater levee from Shaw around to Clayton, Louisiana.
Okay. You mentioned that Old River Locking Dam, and we're actually in the area where a lot of our listeners are in Boyles Parish. For folks maybe that are in that area, what can they expect in the coming week in terms of the water that they might be receiving?
They shouldn't receive any more than what they're receiving, except the seep water. But the people along the levee are going to get seep water now. I don't know what, some of those people are down below you in the Margins, so I don't think that decision has been made yet. But when that's going to affect about 30,000 homes if that Margins spillway is open. And from what I understand, it's pretty surely going to be open either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
Right, and it looks like it's one of those things where there's not much of a decision to have to make. It's either going to be to protect the more metropolitan areas of Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or open up that spillway. And we hadn't heard yet if they've actually done that. Another question I wanted to ask you in terms of your particular areas, how much do you work in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers just to monitor how the levees are holding up?
We work very closely. We work hand in hand with those people. We've got the National Guard, we've got the Department of Transportation, we've got the Wildlife and Fisheries, we've got the Sheriff's Departments in all 4 parishes, we've got the Corps of Engineers. All of us it's 24/7 watch on these levees.
And what about people that are being affected in terms of suffering damage, whether it's flooding to their homes or, as you talked about when we first joined you here, those farmers in that Lake Providence area? What's the next step once the water goes down and they try to recover some of the damages that they've sustained?
Well, the first thing that's got to happen is they've got to get the water out of the bin. And we call it Bunches Bin. The water's got to be pumped out of there, or if the levee does crevasse, then it'll go back out there as the river falls. But as the river, after the river gets so much of it out, then the rest of it, the remaining part's going to have to be pumped out on the south end. And there is a pump there to pump it out with.
I know Vicksburg, they've been hit pretty hard already, and that's, again, part of your district area. So what can you tell us about that area?
Well, now that's a different animal over there. We've been helping the Mississippi Levee Boards try to get those pumping stations put in at Steel Bow, and that hadn't happened. And I think that's really sad that Congress hadn't come forth and provided the necessary funds and the necessary authorization to put those pumps in and keep that Yazoo Basin dry, because right now it's suffering. There has been no rain, and water's backing in there across the main line because of the Yazoo levee, and it's going to ruin just billions of dollars of crops and homes. And it did this in '73, and we thought by now that these people would have woke up and at least awakened and done something to help those people over in the Yazoo Basin, but they haven't.
And I guess that has to be frustrating when you know that something potentially could be mitigated at least somewhat, and then to see it not, and then to have that kind of devastation. I mean, that's just got to be very frustrating.
Well, it is frustrating, and I've worked closely with the Mississippi Levee boards and trying to get some of that done, and it just hadn't happened, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I think we're getting more weight from the greenies and these bear huggers than we are from the people that really need some help and support, and I don't think Congress is paying attention to what we need. They didn't pay attention to us in New Orleans, and they're not paying attention to us now.
Right. I know you talked about how the levees are holding up so far, and that's a good thing. But, as we look to the future, this was kind of that maybe not even a 100-year flood. I think the mayor of Vidalia termed it a 500-year flood. What are our levees going to look like after all of this water eventually goes down? And what kind of work do you think will be needed to be made on them in terms of the long-term holding up of all these levees throughout Louisiana?
These levees will still be in good shape. All we'll have to do is clean the debris off of them and continue going like we were and continue raising levees. And if we had more congressmen in Washington like Rodney Alexander and Bitter, and senators like Bitter and Landrieu and people like that, we would be in much better shape, and these levees would be in much better shape. Those people realize what the problems are, and they're the ones that have done what it's taken to get us the support that we've needed and gone this far. Now we're down to bare knee support. We're not getting enough to fund the Corps, and that's going to hurt us badly. But to answer your question, the levees are going to continue to be just as strong as they are now. All we'll have to do is fix some slides that are going to occur and clean the debris off and continue to raise the 71 miles that we've got left in Louisiana to raise.
And I think all of this underscores the importance of Louisiana as a state from the last year of what it means even to the national economy when you take the oil drilling in the Gulf and how that was shut down, and even looking at now down in the port of New Orleans, if the port shuts down for any length of time, that pretty much brings to a standstill all the traffic on the Mississippi River. So you've got all kinds of different things that are affected, not only oil, but all the commodities that come flowing through the river as well. So, I agree with you. I think in terms of Congress and the people in Washington, they need to realize how important fundamentally to the economy a state like Louisiana is, and if things aren't maintained and taken care of, that can have major repercussions down the line.
Well, can you imagine what's going to happen during this wheat harvest? We've got a wheat harvest right on top of us. We don't have but one port in North Louisiana that I know about that's open. That's at Lake Providence. And they can't load grain barges very well there. They're doing it with drag lines now. They're not loading them effectively because the loading facilities are so close to the water's edge you can't get a barge on them. So we're having severe problems right now. Can you imagine what's going to happen when this river goes down and there's no water in the river? When you get down to 9 feet draft and these barges can't load but half draft, it's not going to work. The Congress needs to wake up and understand that this is the biggest commodity that the United States of America's got is the Mississippi River. It handles more commerce than anything in the United States.
Well said. Just what's your life been like as far as your schedule these last couple of weeks? I know you said that you've been in emergency mode. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about that. What's the schedule like for a levee district president during something like this emergency?
I'll leave at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I come home at 9 o'clock at night from meeting. I've got to take care of these meetings. I've got to try to settle down all these rumors. If the rumors wasn't running so rampant, I'd be at least getting a little bit more rest. But it's just from daylight until dark. And I can't stop. It takes, you got to do the PR along with the work, the actual labor. It's good that I've got good men that know exactly what to do, and we've got the help of the sheriff's departments with the inmates that are helping us bag these sandballs. Had it not been for that, we wouldn't. I don't think we would have to turn it all over to the Corps, and I'm not sure the Corps is well funded enough to take care of these responsibilities. Yeah,
and I think if we've learned anything from the lessons of the federal government the last few years is we need to take care of ourselves because you can't really depend on them to do it.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. We need to take care of our own homework.
Yes, sir.